Room clock. I will call to order the October 23rd Planning Board meeting. First, we need to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did we need to add a section on the agenda for Mr. Manoyan?
He would come under new business.
Okay.
New business.
Clearly. And that's like job title. Right?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Yay.
Next, we can move on to approving the minutes. We've got 3 sets of minutes. We can start with September 11th. Meeting minutes. Could I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the planning board meeting of September 11th.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
I don't believe so, but I'd like 1 minute. No?
And the 11th, these are the ones on top?
Yes. Yeah, I did them in order for you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved.
Can I make a motion to approve the minutes from September 27th, 2018?
Seconded.
Any discussion? There being no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the minutes of September 27th carries. And now we have the minutes for October 9th.
Motion to approve the minutes from October 9th, 2018.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
I just commented, I reviewed all the minutes from the 3 meetings and just saying at one time, I feel that they're all fine, so.
Okay, all in favor?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
I'm sorry. So, I have to abstain when I wasn't at a meeting because I can't approve the minutes. When you leave in the middle, you still approve because you were there for part of it? Or do you half-aye?
I don't think you actually have to abstain, but I can vote if that.
No, I'll vote. I just curious that I'm still learning how this whole thing works.
There is no rule that says that you have to. I feel more comfortable myself personally because I'm not sure if something's going to come back, but...
I was there, so I'll approve it.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve minutes carries unanimously. Then we have a bill from the Sentinel and Enterprise. This is the Ashoka Publishing, the bill for advertising the public hearing.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's for $951.22. Could I get a motion to approve the bill?
Can I take it again? This is the only copy.
Yes.
The Lowell Sun is
Yeah.
Colorado Springs?
Yeah,
Parent company?
where is it? Is it Lowell?
The
Is
Lowell
it?
Sun has been bought up by Digital.
Yeah, there's another one. I think it's a Sentinel or Telegram is out of Atlanta, Georgia, the bills go to.
It's all the same company. They
Yeah.
destroyed all these newspapers. They
Yeah,
destroyed
they're
them.
all.
There was a balance forward on this bill.
Yeah, I think I changed it and took it out because it was Oh, you are correct, sir. 788.70.
Do we know why there's a balance forward?
There was the
That's
bill
the
that was
bill from
signed the last
the
meeting,
last meeting.
at the last meeting. That was the bill that was signed the last meeting, and I thought I didn't catch that. I apologize, but the total was $788.70.
Okay, we haven't gotten to the motion yet, have we?
No.
That was clear. I'm just
Okay.
clarifying.
I was waiting
So-
with Ken on that one.
Okay, so in 2014, there's 2 items there. So there's a total of 6 publications here. There's 2 for the 14th, 2 for the 21st, and another duplicate for the 21st and the 28th. Does that seems like,
It's,
I thought we only had it for
you
2
have 2
weeks.
hearings, 2 times. So there's a total of 4.
Right, but this is for 6.
Oh, because they're showing them.
It's 2 weeks in a row for 2 different items.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4.
2, 4, 6, 2, 2, and a 1, 1.
That's their rate. I don't know how they do their rate, but the line items you count as 4.
It says times run rate, 2 times, 2
Well, I'm
times.
not going by the rate, I'm going on the line items.
So we had 2 items, right, that we were publishing? Or 1 item for the amendments?
Well, there was one in the Lowell paper and there was one in the other paper.
There's,
Oh,
there's just,
Okay, so
there's,
we've got them in 2 different papers.
there's 4 public hearings total, there's 4 line items. How they do their rate, I don't touch that, I don't do their billing, I just count the line items.
Times run,
Mhm.
2 times,
Ran
2 times,
twice,
2 times,
yep.
2 times, it's actually total.
Yeah, yeah. You have to run them twice and,
It's 4 notices. Show the lowest
I
one.
think that's correct, yeah, yeah. That's because there was, we had to do one of them separately from the other one because it was added afterwards for the public hearing notices.
Okay,
So there were 2 notices for each hearing date.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve the amount of $788.70 payable to the Sun Sentinel Enterprise.
Can I take a look? One
We'll go
for you ask
forward.
first. Okay.
Madam Chair, can I make a point of order? Are those invoices being paid by the applicant, or are they just town ones?
Town.
So that'd be paid out of the management support line item. So Mark has authority to sign, the planning board doesn't have authority to sign for management support invoices. I didn't realize that.
I think it's in our
Yeah.
regulations that we're
Put them on there.
supposed to approve invoices, but
Yeah, because that comes through
Wait.
CPC as well.
Yeah, so for different things, this is,
Oh,
we're not getting reimbursed, it's a whole different account by the applicant. So,
Yep.
like zoning board of appeals, they'll be reimbursed by the applicant, it's a different account. This payment for town meeting postings comes from management support, which Mark would be authorized to sign under the budget.
okay.
I learned something.
We also had a thing with our meetings too, we may want to go back and change our,
Well, it did change when we switched to town
Regulations.
manager form of government.
Oh.
Oh,
that's,
okay.
Yeah, so the enabling legislation would trump the regulations, but we can talk about it more.
We can look at our rules and regs too to see if they need amending for this purpose.
yeah. I think we have a few things to go back. It's, once you have them in, you start seeing what works and what
So-
doesn't work.
You signed it, but I don't think we actually said aye.
Oh,
So to
sorry.
close the loop, do we just do it anyway?
Any
Because we're
further
here?
discussion?
No, we'll do that next.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How did I do that? I forgot what you said. You pick up.
Just goes back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have the lot release for 15 Trevor Trail. Would you like to join us, Mr. Moore?
Sure.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
We'll get the number right this time.
So, I really have to thank Heather, who,
Yeah, it's right here.
yeah, ran around in the middle of the day today and got it all straightened out. But correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like what happened is last time we had documents with two different lots on it, and you chose lot 11, so we voted.
For 11, and it should have been 15. Lot 11 was,
Yeah, I found.
we found the original back in
Previously,
August,
It
yeah.
was still August 1st, yeah. So
Yeah,
before
I tried
even
to look for
started.
it for you too, and I couldn't
Yeah, it was
find
before I
it
even
today.
started, so I found it just to make sure we didn't have a double, like didn't have an outstanding fee or you'd owe us again, so I
Yeah.
had double checked. That's why I asked you to record.
So
It's like, oh, no.
lot 11 had already been released in August.
Last
So-
Last year,
17.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah.
2017.
So he's paid the fee already. We had- go
41,000
ahead
some
and
odd.
So basically, I had 11 and 15 mixed up, because I didn't get the letter from Mark before the meeting, and I tried to read it real quick, so lot 11's been done, actually, I recorded it twice. So we need to, I would like you guys to vote to release lot 15, which was the correct number back at the last meeting from the letter from Mark, so it's more of a technicality than a new decision.
The letter from Mark Wetzel that we all got, with had the breakdown of the values, that was all
Right.
correct. From
Yeah.
July, actually, I think of this,
Correct.
July and August of this year.
so could I get a motion for the lot release for lot 15 Trevor Trail?
Can I have the Form G? Just let me have the form for a second.
I double
No,
checked it
this is
against
the
the
one she
other one.
wants. He wants.
I double checked it against that one as well to verify the open page too.
So that's why 15 isn't listed in the grouping at the bottom of Form G
He's
from
never lost.
2017.
Yeah, he's never
Because
lost.
it wasn't. Oh, keeping up.
Yep, no, that's fine. Then
This is-
that's why
this
I
is
brought the
last year.
files.
This is last
Right.
year's form.
Right.
Yes, you wanted this one.
And that's why I brought that one to file down so you guys could see that you did do it and it was
No, I got
done.
it.
I'm sorry.
When
What
I
else?
verify books and pages that they match. I did that too, just not miss a thing.
And again, I really want to thank you because that, yeah, saved us a lot of time. And
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine, no, that's fine.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to release Lot 15 of the Riley Jane Farm subdivision from the covenant dated July 8th, 2015, and recorded in the Southern Middlesex District Deeds Book 67, 835, page 505.
Seconded.
any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, and
I can
just let
sign
me know
this.
when I'll run up and grab it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I brought my stuff down if you want to wait 5 minutes, I can do it.
wait.
Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Want me to-
You're just gonna sign there, I fill in the rest.
Can I ask you one more question of
Sure.
CJ was here? I looked at the, you may know I'm fairly familiar with it.
Yeah.
So I noticed in Mark's letter that you're doing it in apparently you're doing it in two phases, because he only refers to phase one. Phase one apparently is lot 1 and 2 on the left as you go down the street, and these lots on the right, which are 11, 12, 15, 14, 11 through 16.
Correct.
So your intention, I guess, is to proceed that way, to finish phase one before...
We call it phase 1 and phase 2. The subdivision was accepted.
one-
Is one.
One phase, right.
Just so for reference, when I talk to Mark or talk to you or talk to anyone in the town, it's here's the 8 lots
Okay.
of
Phase
technically
one.
phase 1, then there's 6 lots in phase 2.
Okay.
Which the infrastructure, I mean, the road's roughed in
Right,
for
right.
phase 2, just because we had to get the sewer down there, so it's pretty, that'll probably be, if I don't sell them, it'll probably be, the road will probably start being worked on again in the spring.
In the spring.
Yep.
I was just curious about the timing, that's all.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Hang on, just give me a copy of that when you get it done, okay?
I will.
Thank you.
Stop your papers.
Okay, so now we're up to town planner update, debrief from town meeting. Mark Ashmill.
Thank you,
Go.
Madam Chair. Did everybody receive the email that I sent out earlier? If not, I have extra
Also,
copies.
I think so, thank
Or you
you.
have it?
I don't get it.
You have it? Okay, well, basically, despite some confusion, I think it went well overall. I think the most important zoning bylaw amendments that were on the warrant passed. I considered the Article 6, which qualified the types of land that can be in the open space for open space residential development subdivisions is the most important amendment to pass. So I was really pleased at that. However, going forward, there are a few lessons that I think I learned and hopefully we can improve on in the future at future town meetings. First is to not hold a planning board public hearing on a zoning bylaw amendment after the final date for the town meeting warrant. And that caused a confusion with,
Printing date.
right,
Yeah.
the, version 1 and then version
Yeah.
2, and, it got very confusing. And in speaking with the town manager, we agreed that we will not let that happen again, that we will work backwards from whatever the next Springtown meeting date is to make sure that the planning board public hearing is well before the town meeting warrant has to be finalized and printed. So that, what is shown up on the screen by the moderator will be what the actual amendment is.
Okay.
So, yeah, I thought that was one of the biggest problems, and we actually discussed that at the meeting, that it was already in the warrant before
Right.
it came to us. And it does say, while there's nothing illegal here, it actually is not legal. Chapter 40A says only an Ayer voter can bring it to the Board of Selectmen, and the fact that it had already gone there without us seeing it is a problem.
Only who can bring it to the Board of Selectmen?
An Ayer voter, or somebody whose property is affected, but if you're talking about general, it's Chapter 40A.
You're talking about
You
zoning
can't have
amendments.
non-residents bringing it. And it really should have gone through the planning board. Again, I think like we suggested last time, is start now for the next town meeting. And if it isn't ready to go, resist the urge to say, oh my God, we have to do this now. And just wait and get it done correctly. And
Right.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I just want to illustrate, there's some differences here on what, we were frustrated last night, there's no doubt about it. The town manager, we got a scathing email from the Board of Selectmen this morning, how disorganized the meeting was. To say that 40A, yeah, you put it forward, you're the voters, the planning board, you're elected to put forth articles. So you're planning board, so your policy, we have day-to-day professionals, Mark, Alan, Charlie, myself, who recommend to the planning board what needs to go onto the agenda. You send it forward. My understanding is that you didn't just get it on the 9th. You've had it for 6 weeks prior to the 9th.
That's not true. I don't know where, I've heard that at other, like at the selectmen's meeting, and
Right.
it simply isn't true. It's on
So you're
video, it's
saying-
on videotape, that it was handed to us at the September 27th meeting to be discussed at our next meeting. It was already on the warrant. That's a problem, because there were numerous errors on it. For instance, the first one that passed last night, home occupation, we decided to just let it go because, people had worked real hard on it. There was a section in the zoning bylaws for home occupation, but that regulation was not put in with the home occupation regulations. It was put in the definitions section. So that's the easiest, we could get, there were a lot of complicated things wrong with it, but that's like one easy one to understand. That was in the wrong place. It was already printed in the warrant. That's a problem. And if you have enough, what's really great about this planning board is it's really diverse with people with lots of different experience that really look at things differently. It's much more likely to be picked up if we have time to bring it to several meetings, and everybody pokes holes in it and discusses, debates, and it comes.
So that didn't happen at all during
We
the
did
summer?
not get it 6 weeks.
Were you generally aware that they were going to be offering zoning amendments to the bylaw?
I'd like to clarify my take on it, and it's a compromise. So yes, we did receive communication, either email of some sort with, and obviously we knew there were going to be warrant articles brought forward, and we were told the warrant articles were being prepared by Mark and by Charlie to their, with their expertise, looking to make minor changes in certain parts of the zoning that was passed in the spring. So this is my take on it. So you guys can add to it. But then the Global Montello project came before the board, which I think took most of the thought that we needed during the summer and into the fall. And particularly, ended up taking 93 days on a 90-day schedule of approval.
Yeah.
And we had to give them a 3-day extension or something along those lines. So the bulk of the meetings that we had we were concentrating on processes that had to do with Global Montello. And this had to take a back seat based on that, just based on the time of the meetings that we had to run. So in essence, we didn't concentrate on it until later in the game after it was published, even though we may have had the documents earlier.
Did we? When did we get them?
They were emailed to me earlier, and we knew the one. There was somewhere along the line we got them, but not physically in writing particularly.
It's on video. He handed them to us on the 27th and
Okay.
said, these are the ones that we just finished.
in any
We
event,
were
it was-
aware that there was something coming, but
Right. In any event, we may have not, I just don't feel we had adequate time to prepare for the town meeting with the one hearing, public hearing. I think we would have needed clearly regular meetings before the public hearing to be able to talk about what we talked about, so by the time we got to the public hearing, we were satisfied with the language and could approve it at the public hearing. So clearly, and I apologize for goofing up what I goofed up, because there was a misunderstanding as to how we were going to get through that. Article 5, my famous article there. But in any event, when we had the meeting on the 11th, which was the hearing, I believe, the public hearing, we found out that day that there was definitely a disagreement in the board versus many of the small particulars of the articles. And that was really too late at that point in time for us to be able to salvage it, other than let 2 articles go, which we did, and then try to salvage Article 5 or move it around, which was a disaster, I know. But I'm going to take tried to take the same opinion that Mr. Ashambo took, that I thought the really important articles were the open space article
Agreed.
and the other article, which was the dimensional article, because the long-term effect of the open space article is way more important than the small digits of adjustments that we were trying to make in the other ones. And I guess obviously the lesson I learned is that I'm never going to go to a town meeting and try to make an amendment on the town meeting floor again. But I think there was a lot going on in the summer, and that's the reason we were concentrating on Global Montello and other issues, and never really got to dig into the miniature, the smaller changes that we were asked to do at the articles at town meeting. So
That's a great perspective, and you also missed another curveball we got thrown, which is our chair quit out of nowhere. And I mean, we've had a lot go on,
Right,
and I'm new, and this is how it always goes.
Yeah.
It's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, Global
But I-
Montello took a lot of our time.
I'd love to see a working group at least be agreed on this evening to start, working on stuff and nail it down before it's on the warrant,
What kind
before we
of
have
a
a public
working
hearing.
group?
Yes. Well, I'll be speaking to that in a moment.
Oh, is it on here?
Yes.
Okay. But the other things that we didn't quite do right is 40A also says that the planning board must report on it at town meeting for the vote
Right.
to go forward, and we didn't do that.
Right, so procedurally, was two things that, and again, I know I screwed up my part, but there were procedurally a couple of things that I wanted to have you guys, professionals, weigh in on. And that was one of them. But the other one was,
Can I just address that one real quick?
shouldn't have been a procedure for the moderator to ask the planning board, similar to when they asked the finance committee? That was going to be my question.
So the, last time we did the zoning bylaw article in March, the town moderator was very upset that the planning board was on the stage. Per Massachusetts general law, it should only be the selectmen and the finance committee, town clerk, town council, if they want to be up there,
That's fine.
and the moderator, and the town manager. So Robert and I discussed it yesterday. Don't you think this planning board should be up on the
It
stage?
wasn't going to happen.
But what we had told Tom, and I think this is the expectation, your planning report is given by your professional planner
Okay.
on the floor. If there warrants discussion, people ask questions. That's what Mark's here to do, is to explain what
Okay.
we're putting forward.
But we don't have
But
to
it
be on the
doesn't say
stage. We could be like in the front row, but the report has to come from the planning board. It's state law, 40A.
But when it comes from the planner,
for
isn't it
clear
coming from the
48,
planning board
but-
when it comes from the planner?
You designate
If I'm
Mark.
the
Yeah, he's designated.
Right.
He's designated as the planning board representative.
Right.
So if it comes from him, it's coming from the planning board. That would be my
Exactly,
understanding.
like when Robert speaks, it's coming from the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, okay. But there was never a step, well, I guess, well, maybe there was, maybe there was. There didn't seem to be a step like that was happening last night where the planning board was asked to make
There
that
was issues with the moderator too last night, so,
with the speed or whatever.
yeah.
What was the other one I was going to, that was one thing.
Aren't the
With
selectmen
Is it
supposed
with
to also hold a public hearing? Which
do.
can be held jointly with the planning board, but they have to have a public hearing on zoning amendments.
The selectmen, no, the planning board does, on zoning amendments.
I think 40A says the selectmen also. It says both.
Madam Chair, there are some towns where the selectmen actually administer,
Yeah.
towns without a planning board, they actually have to administer the zoning bylaw. In some very small towns, I've seen this happen. And so they would hold the public hearing in that case. But in the selectmen. But in most cases, it's the planning board.
Right, but
And
It says,
I do not
shall
believe it's
each.
in hand.
Has each held a public hearing.
So we
Each.
do a public
Both.
hearing on the warrant anyway, which includes your zoning article, so I think it would be covered.
Okay.
Right. So what, the other comment that I have,
Yeah.
I know I goofed it up, but there was you handed stuff to the moderator,
Mhm.
like, when we get, the very first one, Article 2, where we needed to make an amendment to take out accessory apartment.
Right.
What did you hand to him?
I handed him the
Yeah.
version with accessory apartment crossed out, because he needs, any amendment that's a deviation from the printed warrant needs to be handed to him in writing.
Okay.
So
But
that's what I...
shouldn't there have been a step before that, to where we had to read that amendment and then hand it to him?
Someone from the floor would have had to make the amendment.
So I was stuck at that point, is what
Oh.
happened. So what happened was, it was handed to him, then I needed to, then he asked for the motion, so I had to make a motion from the floor and fumble through it. Somehow we got that one done. But when it got to Article 5, which was really changed, everything was changed. There's no way I could get through that, basically. But that's just a step that we have to learn to handle
Yeah.
on our own,
Yeah.
to take that step. So procedurally, he needs to get a written copy, obviously, but it can be written by someone in the audience, it can be
usually,
written at the
yeah.
last minute,
Yeah.
which a lot of amendments
Mark
are.
was over-prepared, usually people handwrite them.
Yeah, they just,
So-
I've seen them do that. Okay, so those were my only questions
Okay.
on procedures and stuff.
Yeah, and, I realized, it was, the way...
And
the
different town
building-
meetings run different in different towns, I'm sure.
The way the building commissioner and I looked at this is over the course of the late spring and summer, we realized there were some things that needed tweaking in the bylaw, and we considered them to be relatively minor in the scheme of things compared to what I'm going to mention as major bylaw changes that we're going to look to do in the spring. So we felt that, as administrative staff, that, we were qualified to work on these and bring it to the planning board. And I admit, I wish there was a little more time in the summertime to have had a prior public hearing, and it just happened the way it did. So
Yeah.
I would like to look forward and how we can do better in the future, as opposed to recriminating ourselves
Thank you.
over what went wrong.
Yes.
So one of the other lessons that I would like, and of course this would involve the building commissioner, is that for some of the changes that he suggested were actually a little confusing to myself as well, with minor changes to the setbacks and accessory structures. And, I think that if he feels strongly enough that something like that needs to be changed, that he should be the one speaking, perhaps at the town meeting, to actually describe why this happened. He could say, 10 people came to me for sheds, and it couldn't work because the setback needs to be tweaked a little bit. And people would understand that, it would be clear. And of course, if we follow all these steps with, making sure that we have the warrant set, the public hearing set before the warrant, the issue of discrepancies will not occur. And also, and this goes to the chairperson's point, I would like to create what's called the zoning bylaw sounding board or oversight committee that would be composed of representatives of various committees to start working right away. I propose right after the holidays, but it could be even sooner if you'd like, to work on several of the major zoning bylaw projects that we have been tasked with, one of which is a recreational marijuana bylaw. We do have the one permit that was issued for.
We limited the retail sales to one.
Right. But,
There for that.
in the state law now, there's all these various categories of this business. There's cultivation, processing, sales, transportation from one place to another, testing and laboratories, and all of these have somewhat different requirements. So this will be a large project where we have to decide which types of these are we going to allow or not allow in the town, and where they should occur. So, that'll take a lot of thought, and I believe that should be something that goes beyond the planning board. That'll involve public safety issues, police issues, selectmen issues. So, that particular bylaw will be very involved, and, something that such a committee would be good to address. The second on that list, I'm at the bottom of the page now, is a Petapawag, I know it's a hard word to pronounce, Area of Critical Environmental Concern Overlay District. This is one of the #1 priorities in the recently adopted master plan in the environmental resources section. When you look at a map of Ayer, you see that the northeastern part of Ayer that borders Groton is pretty much a little mini wilderness. That's where people are going to be looking to do these subdivisions in the future. One thing in our favor is that the land characteristics up there is very rugged. It's alternating ledge and steep slopes and wetlands and beaver ponds, so it's not easy to develop. However, I think it would be wise to have an overlay district that would better protect that area when development does occur. Back in the 2000s, there was a subdivision called Stratton Hill. Moulton was the developer that was proposed, and they roughed in the road. And, it's a dirt road up there. So,
I know it well.
So incursions into that area were proposed,
Yes.
and because of the recession, that was never built. But I could see that coming back. And if you build one road in there, other roads can come off of that. So we have to think about that as a big project. Accessory apartments is another one that we have postponed now twice. I'd like, if Ms. Kennedy is willing to, work on that with me and a subcommittee to fine tune what the consultant wrote originally in the spring and come up with a good product, I think we could present that in the spring.
I just wanted, because I
Yes.
heard the thing at town meeting too, about Judy Barrett. And Judy was tasked with bringing the bylaw current to current state law, with the understanding that there weren't going to be any big changes in it. Because if we tried to change all kinds of things, it could have very well ended up like last night ended up. So the idea was just we have to get it up to current law and we'll do the changes later. So Judy did not make a mistake. This was the intent of doing one piece at a time.
Who indicated
Oh, yes.
No one indicated she made a
Well, in
mistake.
fact, accessory apartments was in the original version that came before the town. And for various reasons that I don't want to get into now, it was withdrawn at that time. But, you know, it is, not only is it a good housing option for young couples, or if people have an elderly parent who needs to, you know, live with them, you know, it's great for that. Also, my understanding, talking with community development and Alicia, is that having provisions for accessory apartments may help us obtain state grants. You know, it certainly...
Not having it will put us in a very
Right.
favorable position competitively.
Right.
I think we were pretty much in favor of it. It was about 2/3 of a page, and I was reading through at least 10 other towns that were 4 or 5 pages that included ownership, separate ownership, conduization, how you pass it down, separate buildings, and tons of stuff that was just not included here. So the one that had been there, it had been one that was severely outdated and was one of those things that we needed to really update, not just tweak a few words. If we're going to redo it, we should do it right. And there's, you know, reading 10, you could probably read more. There's a lot of good examples of what to put in there.
Madam Chair, I don't think there was even a reference to accessory apartments in the last version of zoning.
You're talking about the spring or before the spring?
Before this,
Yes, it was in the Judy Barrett package that she...
right, but what we were using until we passed, there was nothing in the bylaws.
Oh,
Because
right.
they used to come in and
The
say,
prior bylaw,
right,
okay.
but that's what I'm saying, the prior
Yes.
bylaw, people
Yeah.
used to come in and want to do an accessory apartment, which is why Charlie and I thought it was a good idea to push it forward. That's one of the most common questions that we're asked here day to day. So if we never even had it.
Yeah, you understand Charlie was the one that asked us to take it out in the spring.
Right, and then it was taken
Yeah.
off
To bring it
again
back.
because it wasn't long enough. I
Right.
get it.
Because he
Well,
wasn't...
we'd like to see it addressed in the spring.
Yeah, so we'll do it right this time and we'll get it in. And,
Can I ask on this, Mark? Am I interrupting? I know you didn't get to form-based codes.
no,
and
that's,
clearly it's
yeah.
important. I appreciate
Yeah,
all of this.
yeah.
I personally, and this goes to my own role in a different world right now, but we don't have a full board here. We can't all get here to this meeting. I've heard there's openings on the Conservation Commission, or there had been, at least up until recently. We struggle to fill our boards, never mind get our quorums. And we had a town meeting last night where very little of the school even showed up for an important-ish vote on the school. How are we going to add other, so I see where this is very important, but is this feasible, and what are we doing as a town? And I look to you guys as well to support volunteers working for our town, because clearly it's
Right.
a problem.
Mark, if I may, Madam Chair. So we haven't had a quorum on the Disabilities Commission ever, I think. And we're tasked with updating our ADA compliancy issues in town. So what we do is, we've been on the social media looking for people with a snapshot of what your responsibilities are. I agree with when I read Mark's overview today.
Yeah.
I don't think another committee or subgroup is necessarily going to help the situation, being a realist and being in this building every day. I think it's a great idea, but
it's
when we do a
fantastic.
public
It's
outreach, like for the town meeting, we did how to set the tax rate, 4 people came. So we had trouble getting, and Ken and his wife were 2 of the 4. So we have trouble getting people here, so which is why we hired Mark Archambault.
Yeah.
why we hired Alan, because we need professional, and not a knock at all on you, we appreciate that all our, public servants on all the boards, and we need more. But that's why we hire professionals day to day to handle these and to put them forth to you guys to make the policy decision. So I think if we're gonna do a working group, which in theory I think is a great idea, we have to make sure that we have planning board buy-in, meaning someone's gonna attend, every meeting. Zoning board, selectmen's office, I can cover 2 birds with 1 stone right there. So Charlie, Robert would like to see it happen, but adding another night meeting to people's already hectic lives, I don't think that's going to help anyone. That's just my opinion, and seeing it day to day, and boards not filling quorums, and finance committee's down again to 3 members. So we're having a hard time
How many are they
soliciting people.
supposed to be? 5.
Yeah.
Plus
Yeah.
alternates. This board should have 5 plus alternates.
So, Madam Chair, to your comment, Julie, yeah, we do have some prospects in mind. There were several people that came to the selectmen's meeting when Ken was chosen to be on the planning board.
Yeah, we had like 4 people.
Yeah, we're gonna get on the phone with them.
Pick them all out?
Yeah.
And I'm working, we're working the grapevine, we're trying to, solicit some interest.
Have they been contacted?
I've spoken to Jonathan, we've all spoken.
Yeah, I
2
think,
of the 3 have.
Are
The
they-
third one wasn't interested anymore.
No?
No. But we reaced out.
I spoke with one prospect that is very interested,
That's good.
oh,
and actually quite honored to be considered.
oh.
Did you
So-
go, hopefully you didn't go to the meeting last night.
I saw him.
I tried recruiting. I used it as an edge. I tried saying, look, clearly we could use the support. But then
Right.
Try to turn it into
Well,
a
that's good. Well, I
positive.
mean, I'm committed to trying to get, if I have to make 5 phone calls a day to try to get another planning board member, we want that, so we need it. And,
Okay.
so yeah, we don't necessarily have to set the exact format, and I agree with Carly that whatever committee we form to oversee the zoning bylaw process should meet in the daytime so that we don't have an overnight meeting, and people who are available to do so. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a committee that is writing every word. A lot of the writing part of it, technical part of it can fall to me and, Alan for his pieces. And we would bring it in front of the committee, though, and review it. And committee members may have suggestions as to how it can be improved or something that we forgot, and that's, great. And so the way I envision it is, Carly represents the ZBA. She would go to the ZBA meeting and say the committee is discussing this, so it's not a surprise to them. Nothing will be a surprise to the planning board or the selectmen. So, I think.
One of the things we talked about this before, our schedule.
Yeah.
And in defense of the planning board, I said this before, in the last 12 months, we got 2 articles, we got the whole zoning bylaw change, we put through a solar bylaw, we put in site
Done a ton
plan,
of work.
excuse me,
You've
we
done
put
a
in
ton
site
of
plan
work.
regulations. We
Yeah.
updated the site plan. You and I and Dan are working on subdivision
Subdivision,
regulations in the subcommittee.
Yeah.
There's been a number of positives that have happened
Absolutely.
paperwork-wise, and we
Absolutely.
met most of the goals that was set out by Jim Fay, let's say from 12 months ago or more. Actually, it was more than 12 months ago, now that I think of it. So, yeah, we had a little low spot here, but we did, as a committee, I thought we accomplished a lot in the last 12 months or 15 months.
Yes,
I'm just
yes.
saying that I was an outsider before, and now I'm
Right.
on the board,
Yep.
but I noticed the work being done, even as an outsider.
Yes,
Yeah, and Robert and the Board of Selectmen, I can speak for them, certainly appreciate, even that we got the baseline document, the zoning, over the finish line
Yeah.
in March, was huge.
Yeah.
And I know Ken's in here all the time working on the subdivision regulations, and with Mark and
Dan.
Dan from
Shell.
Public Works.
Yeah.
But you've done a ton of work in a year, probably more than in the last, so I'll be here 5 years this spring than I've seen in 4 years. When I started, the planning board was zeroed out to no money, which is how I ended up with the zoning board. But anyway, so you've done a ton of work, and I do think, and Robert agrees, these are growing pains. Last night, The scheduling could have all been better, we all agree on that. But moving forward, like Mark said, let's look ahead. We'll work backwards from town meeting date. We have a lot of stuff we gotta get in next year, recreational marijuana being the most important. Alan fields probably 5 calls a day, I do too, from people that want to come here. We don't have zoning in place for it yet, so that's a huge, goal we gotta meet in the town meeting in the spring. But Mark has been really great, Alan, Charlie, we got a good team here during the day, and we need you guys for the policy piece of it, and you've done a lot of work, so you should be applauded for that.
Thank you very much.
I think one of the other things that too that dawned on me last night is I was trying to get positive about stuff.
Yeah.
As I was feeling kind of down.
Don't feel
Was
bad.
that I in particular have a problem of trying to do things perfect. And I think the effort that we put in to
I've
try to
noticed that,
do
yeah.
things right, okay, that takes more time. So there's easily a way to take the documents that come in front of us and sign off and vote on them. But that's not really the solution that's best for the town in the long run. So it's going to take us longer than probably some other boards, because I think all of us are going to take a look at every typo and make sure at the end of the day.
Because
We
people
don't do
stand
that.
up and say
So
stuff.
I'm just talking in
besides
general.
the fact that it was already in the warrant.
Yeah, but I'm talking in
that one
general.
meeting was not enough time
Right.
to go through everything go through it, comma
I'm
by
talking
period by.
not just about town meeting, I'm talking
Yeah.
about documents that come
Yeah.
across our desk.
Yes.
Whether they're drawings or, proposals or whatever the regulations might be. That's obviously, we're trying to do the best we can. We're not just signing off and sitting here as a board. So that's going to take more time. Hopefully, in the end of the day, we'll have better results.
Ask, I think, am I supposed to say through you
Yes.
to them? Through your chair to the three of you working here. So I hear what you're saying, Ken. And I'm sure there's got to be a balance, but I mean, we're looking, I would assume, to your leadership on sometimes great is the enemy of good, and that we sometimes need to move forward
Yeah.
and hope to, and that balance will be led by the people working here
Exactly.
to kind of show us when enough is enough and when we don't want to just pass things through. I'm with you on that
No.
piece, but I think we need to look to leadership to know when sometimes things need to be passed in order to move forward to the next step, which I think I heard you say at the last meeting before.
Since Ken brought up global, I've heard
Don't go
a
back.
number
It's voted.
of selectmen's comments about what we should have done, and I think there was a
It's
lot
not
of
on the
feeling when
agenda.
we went on the walk. Everybody individually, it was so funny. I heard everybody individually bring up the sidewalks. In a site plan review, we get the site plan and we see, does it meet all the criteria?
Yeah.
And I thought we did pretty good pushing them as far as we could to put in some sidewalks down to the corner where then it's blocked by shrubs that are personal
Yeah.
property. There's no sewage line there. In order to put granite curbs, we would have had to have.
Yeah, I understand all that, definitely.
Yeah, we don't-
But
we can't go back to that.
it's, yeah, I wish the selectmen understood. I mean, we did, as there was, we can ask and
Well, moving forward.
they can say yes or
We
no.
did a good job.
Yeah.
We've
Right.
implemented a thing, when Heather sends a review, we'll send it to the selectmen if they want to, it's not officially in their purview, but obviously there was issues with this global project. So Robert and I typically review it and, we know generally what the concerns of the selectmen are, but we're going to be sending them the full application package. And if they want to weigh in, then they are via the department
Yeah.
head review form, so.
And Madam Chair, if I may speak to that issue in general, those sort of things are called off-site improvements or exactions and that sort of thing. And I was talking to some planners at the conference I was recently at about this project, and they said, you have to be somewhat careful in Massachusetts because site plans are considered, they're not really.
As of right.
Yeah, and, you know,
Yeah,
what you
that's
do
special
with
permit.
exactions for a site plan,
Wait, I didn't catch that. They're
Oh.
considered what?
they're considered a by right use, meaning that, you know, it's, unless they're so egregious that they don't meet the
Got it,
bylaw
okay.
or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, the assumption is they must be approved. They can be approved with conditions.
Yeah, I think you answered.
But what the planners were telling me at the conference was that with a site plan, what you can do with exactions is not as far as you can do with a special permit,
That's- yeah.
which is discretionary, where the boards, whether it be the zoning board of appeals or the planning board, if it's a special permit granting authority, can actually deny a site, deny the special permit
Okay.
if it doesn't meet certain criteria. But with site plans, the planning board is a little more constrained. So the planners are telling me, you know, you probably did the best you could. You may have tried to have pushed it, but they may have had legal recourse. So,
We
you
did
know,
try to push
it's
it.
tough.
We pushed it.
But to that end, you know, I'm seeking advice from the citizen planner training collaborative people who were putting on these trainings. And I'm trying to get a special session for this planning board where they come out. It might take a little while for them to get this together. But something on offsite improvements and exactions so that we know what is our legal right, how far can we push it when it comes to offsite improvements. You know, that's something I would like to learn more myself. And it's, you know, somewhat confusing when you look at the legal law books about it. So I think that's something that would be a good
Thank you.
training session for all of us, myself included, so.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
My other
Julie?
question I'm sitting here with is, I think you're referring to the letter we received from the Board of Selectmen, and when we're talking about their communication, did they ever actually talk to us?
No,
I've never
I
met said
watched
selectmen.
a couple of the selectmen's meetings that
Okay.
even after.
I think that's what I'm curious.
Where
Where
they
do you hear
came
this
and
communication?
the applicant's lawyer explained the law. I was like,
Okay.
oh, they still didn't get it. They're still mad.
Well,
So
I
it's
think
two
that's behind
separate
us. That's
elected
behind-
boards. This was a hot topic issue with the selectmen. We have a complete streets policy in this town.
I was on the board.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, it was a sore subject. And we've implemented something moving forward where they can weigh in if they wish, you know, through Robert and
Weigh
myself.
in to us through you? I mean, how does that work?
So-
Again, as a new, I'm trying to learn.
No, I get it.
Through you to them, I'm trying to learn.
They can certainly have their opinions
Yeah.
on any project, like you guys can have your opinion on
But do
any
I
project.
learn those by watching their meetings, or do they actually communicate that to me as a planning
They
board
typically,
member?
well, go ahead.
So what typically happens is that a project comes in for zoning or planning, it gets sent out to every relevant department. Obviously, the IT director is not going to look at it, but all our land use folks look at it. We make sure their taxes are paid, their water bills are paid, what DPW thinks, and that's a whole separate issue with the DPW and the planning board. We'll get there someday. But, so Robert and I review those because the selectmen are a 3-member board of elected officials such as yourself. We don't send them every day-to-day operate, you know, that's why we were hired to handle the day-to-day of the town. So for whatever reason, there was an issue with the global on the sidewalks. Ideally, we would have loved sidewalks down to the circle. People are going to be walking there.
Yeah.
But understanding the reality, and I know the reality, is that it was too late in the game and there's only certain things you can ask for. We get that. So moving forward now, if it's a big, huge project like this then we'll send it to the Board of Selectmen. But we won't send it on an A&R lot. I mean, that's why we have a planning board. So that's where we're at.
Forgive me, that wasn't actually my question. So if they have something to say, am I expecting it in a writing or an email, or am I expected as a town member to be watching their meetings?
No,
or-
if they have a communication, they'll send it in a letter.
In a
like they
letter,
did.
okay.
Yeah, like they did.
Correspondence.
Correspondence. Or if they reach out to you directly, individually, I mean, if they could, then there's no law against that. But if there's something that the board of 3 or 2 of 3 want to put in writing, then you'll get it in writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Are we ready to move on to Alan?
Yeah, that's basically all I was going to report on tonight. I thought we had a very good discussion just now.
I appreciate it.
I had one more thing.
Oh.
Okay.
This is, it's interesting you just mentioned A&R lots. Something that I'm concerned about is we've got a lot of A&R lots that have come up on Route 2A. And they're going to continue to come up on Route 2A because there's vacant land that can be broken off into A&R lots. And it was interesting last night, Article 1, which I semi-supported, was a change in the access and driveway, street opening and all that stuff. And I was pretty much on top of that on another project that I was studying quite thoroughly. So I wasn't sure if I should support that article last night or not, but I didn't say anything about it. But one of the things that happens with the A&R lots that we don't seem to have any control over, and it may come up that DPW can help us with this, is site distance. When we look at any kind of a situation, typically in a subdivision, we control that road when it meets another road, and we can control site distance. So here we have a situation where A&R lots are coming up on a busy road, and they could be over a slight hill, and there could be some blind spots. I don't know if you could help me with that, look into that. Is there any way for us as a board to control the driveway access onto these
Right.
A&R lots?
That's a good,
Well, that's not,
I'll-
we have a bylaw, so.
right, I'll discuss, well,
One
now
of
we
the-
have the new driveway bylaw.
Right,
so
but
I'll
no, we
just-
have a bylaw in place right now.
Right,
So my question to the experts was going to be, when that bylaw was voted any of the bylaws that were voted last night, that's why I'm bringing it up under the town meeting follow-up.
Yeah.
From what I understand from the spring was that those are in effect immediately, until it's official when the 90 days goes by. But for all intents and purposes, applications that come in now fall under the new bylaw.
Yes, as soon as you post for the
Right.
hearing,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't pass, if something came in, say on this frontage requirement that we did last night, and it came in after we posted the
Right.
deadline,
Yeah,
between town
gotcha.
meeting, we go with the proposal. If it fails, then you go with what's
It
there.
goes backwards.
Right,
Same
so-
thing that happened in the spring.
What happens is Susan has, I forget the number of days, to submit any bylaw or zoning amendment or general bylaw. The Attorney General's office will look at it. So it's kind of in flux until the Attorney General's office sends it back and says, you're good to go. This can go into effect now, or, hey, there's a problem with this because it conflicts with this state law. So that's the next step. And once we get the AG's blessing, then we consider it good to go.
So that's a concern I'd like to follow up on. Is
Okay.
under the way that, I'm not sure if you guys studied that Article 1 much, but the current Article 45 of the town bylaws,
Yeah.
not zoning bylaws, town
Okay,
bylaws,
right,
includes the regulations in the bylaw. What happened last night is we took those regulations out and he made them separate.
Right.
So he's got to create the regulations, or he's going to have to use what regulations we have in place right now. So he simplified the bylaw by
Right.
shrinking it down, but said, now I have to have a set of regulations on the side. So when when we just let these A&R lots go by, I'm trying to figure out if there's a legal way that we can look at the safety of an A&R lot and its driveway access when we approve it.
yeah,
And make
that's,
some comment on the approval, or condition it,
right.
or do something. Maybe we can.
That's, I'm not sure, I know A&Rs are very circumscribed.
Right, but there's a lot of talk in the
There's a
state
limited
about
thing.
getting rid of them and
Right.
changing them and doing a lot of
Yeah,
other
no,
things.
the zoning reform act would get rid of A&Rs completely, which is great, and make them small subdivisions, which
So
would
the-
give the planning board more power over these things, but.
So that's my
But
main-
we can start
hoping you
discussing it
can
with
follow up
Dan
and-
tomorrow, but yes, I will follow up.
Find out
with that.
if we have anything there, because
Right,
we could approve a lot, and the guy may only have one option for a driveway, and it's a blind
Mhm.
driveway.
right,
And that wouldn't be in our
Yeah.
best interest, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's my question, that's all.
okay.
So on to new business, one comment, I wanted to ask Heather if we could have the elections of officers on the agenda for next meeting.
Yes, I would have done it this meeting, but Jeff's not here.
Ah.
So otherwise it would have been, but I don't want to help
We
hold
could
it when
elect him
he's
without
not.
him here, we could surprise him, we could elect him for all
So
three
no,
positions.
yes,
If
so
you
I will
don't
make
choose,
sure.
you don't show
I don't
up.
know, Ms. Kennedy's doing a fabulous job.
I will
tonight.
make sure that it's on the next agenda.
Thank you very
I would have
much.
had, say I would have had this, but with him not here, I would assume he would have liked, as the vice chair, be present
Take
for
a
that.
bow and we'll bring
So-
champagne.
I will make sure that it is on the next agenda.
Still, you've been pushed into positions before.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Good
thank
talk.
you, Billy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, anytime you need anything, let us know.
8:09.
Oh, that's not,
Yeah, I haven't eaten dinner.
all right.
Oh, they play tag?
So I'm probably going to ask to also move up to vice chair, and I hope things will go quickly if somebody is interested in being clerk. You get to read.
I finally make motions. That's where I draw the line. I made 2
You
tonight.
you get to read the 2 pages of.
Right.
And then you're ending up as chair, because that's what happens in this board.
Because if we have elections and nobody volunteers,
Well, who's to say we have to have elections?
Well,
We don't even have a full board yet.
yeah.
I know, I was kind of holding off.
Yeah.
I think I'd hear something from the board of selectmen that
Yeah.
someone, and that's part of the reason why Tim was waiting. I'm like, oh, maybe if they posted it right away. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's not happening. And I was gonna have this, but then Jeff said, oh, I'm not gonna be there. I'm like, well, that's no point in doing it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it'll be on the 13th agenda, so.
Okay, new business, Alan Minoyan is going to,
No?
Alan Minoyan production, Alan Minoyan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was one.
that was
Yeah,
Form-based
since he's-
pretty cute,
codes?
Mark.
Yeah, well, since he's involved in film.
Do we need a drum roll?
All right, well, you do that. I'm gonna.
I was just gonna say.
Can you get a glass of water? Oh, I can't do that,
Why not?
because we want to quorum.
Can we
get a
take a
glass
brief
of water?
recess so we can get a glass of water, Madam Chair?
Take a 2-minute recess.
Well, he gets the TV going. I think
Yeah.
an
Yeah, yeah,
intermission
it's gonna
sounds
take a
like-
minute.
I make a motion.
Yes, while you're
Break a
out, we're
brief
going to elect you to,
Right, Chairman.
And I will be brief.
He's gonna run away and come back.
Super brief.
Okay.
I won't fault you if you do, Ken.
How short the meeting would have been last night, the bell being anything last night.
Yeah. We wouldn't have had the 51 people, I think.
That's why Charlie Schultz left the meeting last night.
Am I allowed to ask
the
a question
stickers.
off the record in an intermission, or is that not allowed? We're not to discuss a thing? Okay.
go ahead. You can repeat it for Ken.
No, it's okay. I'll look it up tomorrow on Google.
What? Now I'm curious.
I know, I had one more question. Ruth told me I'm supposed to learn.
I did.
You did.
That's what that citizen something training said.
Okay, I'm just gonna, we can, open meeting laws. Can I not sit with my friends now because now I have friends on both boards, or are we just not allowed to talk town business when 3 are present?
You can sit with that conservation friend and talk about zoning board,
So,
but not.
to be quite clear, I'm quite close with the CPC, Barry, and we were all sitting near each other yesterday, and I
It's town meeting.
what?
It's town meeting. We just don't discuss anything.
So is it, we can never be in the same space together,
no,
or we
you
just
can-
can't discuss town business?
When they redid the open meeting law, they changed it because because I worked in small town, so
Right.
everybody goes to the post office on Saturday.
Right.
You have a three board of
Selectmen, how are you, and
You
what's
walk
in
into
there?
the post office and another board of selectmen's in there. It doesn't count as a quorum.
Thank you.
You're not discussing town items. Hey, how are you doing? It's like,
When I
I saw
see
two
that.
selectmen together. No, they when they redid same thing with when they changed the open meeting law, they addressed that, and that was several years ago because of these small towns with 3-member boards. You go to breakfast on a Monday morning, and a
Thank
fellow board member walks in, you can't leave. I mean,
Okay.
Especially when it has to do with items or matters that are currently, based on.
It because-
Yeah,
But I can ask
Because-
Jess how her
Talk about
dog's
that as
doing,
well.
and we can all.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's town
That's
meeting.
what I'm
Technically, it's a posted meeting
We're all
of the
supposed to be there
town.
anyway.
You're all supposed to be there anyway. So technically, as long as you're not saying, so in the CPC, you just
really
don't. Yeah, you know enough
Okay.
not to do those things.
Thank
You're
you.
fine.
It's a big learning night. I like this. We need more open discussion. Okay.
This is one just great school. This is, this
Any specific questions you have? You have
continuing
a quick email. I can
education
fill you
forever.
in.
Till they
Yeah.
put us in the ground.
You have to pay for
Keep
it.
learning.
You get it for
Do you have
free.
to move to be back in session?
Okay, Madam Chair, just very quickly, the town of Ayer is doing lots of exciting things with innovative zoning. We are, proceeding, I have been tasked by the town manager through the Board of Selectmen to proceed with the formulation and production and delivery of 2 form-based codes, one for the Park Street corridor and one for the West Main Street corridor. We had a very successful day-long visioning charrette for the West Main Street corridor back in the summer, really great. We've done some other great civic engagement things with our form-based codes. And I just want to say, on Thursday evening, October the 11th, this was a very important thing. Form-based codes are innovative zoning. It is prescriptive zoning. Current use-based zoning is proscriptive, meaning a lot of what it gets into is what thou shalt not do, but it doesn't really express to those, well, what does the community want us to do? Well, I'll tell you what I don't want you to do, then you got to figure it out. This is why we have all sorts of unpredictable development outcomes, not good, especially for downtown. So because form-based codes are prescriptive, when you write them, you're literally saying, this code is going to literally determine the development pattern prescriptively, right? When you do that, it has to have standing, legal grounding. I know it says, who made so-and-so God to prescriptively decide? That's why I cannot do this as an administrator sitting in my office. You have to do very vigorous, constant civic and community engagement with a form-based code. I have to be able to evidence that at the end of this process. So to that end, one of the first steps, what you do is to understand what do people prefer in terms of a development pattern. It seems simple. Something we all know is all of us drive or walk down corridors every day. You sort of decide, I like this place, or I don't like this place. And we never sort of sit back and go, why do I or don't like this street or this? So this is what we do in my profession. We engage first in what are called visual preference surveys. And we did a really great one. And I just want to say the turnout was great. And we, of course, had 2 members of the planning board that night. Ms. Kennedy and Mr. Diskin were there participating. And I tell you, we had over 40 residents from Ayer. This is very good for Ayer. I was very, very pleased and happy that night to show that it really hooked and we really had great participation. So I just want to show you just quick, just because these images are good. It should show that, wow, people are, so here's how, and some of those panels are still up there, a couple, you can look at them. And you just lay out visually various corridors and development types, and you just start, it's very gut. It's like you want it more from the gut than the mind, so don't over-process it, just go with your gut, and just getting a sense of what type of corridors just do you prefer or do you appeal to for whatever reason, and you engage in discussion. But so I just show you, this is sort of what happened that night. Hey, there were 2 planning board members right there. That handsome young man.
Yeah, right.
But there they were, fully engaged in it. So this was a really great, you see our dots for, we were saying, do the lime colored if you prefer that development pattern. And this is specifically for only one place in the world, or 2, for Park Street and Ayer. So it's site specific. Your current use-based zoning is not site specific. It's an abstraction. It applies to anywhere and nowhere. Form-based codes, that code is designed for one place and one place only in the world. That's why it's a highly customized, prescriptive zoning code. So we just did this exercise showing, and it was very clear at the end of this civic process that the people near that park chose to participate really want to see Park Street and West Main Street develop in a traditional, walkable, mixed-use building and street pattern. It's downtown, it's our Main Street. What they say is we want to see that form wrap around the corner of Park Street and continue down that development path. So this really delivered for the night what I needed to really go forward and write the code. So this was a very successful night. We are proceeding now. I'm, starting to write the code for both of these things. You know, in my office, I have been tasked to have this code, again, formulated, produced, and packaged and ready for delivery to spring town meeting. What I would like to do, and what I have done in the past with several communities, I have done form-based codes with through New England. Actually, when I was in Auburn, Maine, before I took my position here, we did a really incredible form-based code. I wrote that whole code with the City of Auburn's planning board. I was on their agenda every meeting for a year. We wrote the code together, and it was their first time. So by the end of that process, I had a planning board who were all form-based code experts. They could start their own consulting firms. Literally, after that, they could. They knew it more than a lot of you know. I had the time to do that. Again, your schedule is very intense and demanding, but I would like to write this code and compose it as much as possible with the planning board. So you're right, going through this and understanding, so when we get to town meeting, you know what it is. By the way, it has to come before you for adoption and before I get it, and that's very important. So the code will be all the better if we do it together. We're going to continue on. I will continue to do public design charrettes and civic engagement for both, but we're going to do this code. And I tell you all, I think it would be a great professional experience for all of you if you really, I think it'll help you, frankly. If you understand form-based codes, you have a much deeper understanding of conventional use-based zoning. But you can't innovate a new thing unless you totally understand the thing that you're innovating, It's like, I have to know what this thing is that I'm changing for. So it's a really great process. So that's all. I'm just letting you know this is a great kickoff. Other things go good. We're doing the code. So I would like to be able to have a place on your agenda every meeting, even if it's for 10-minute thing, saying, let me give you a status update of how we're coding this space. Our transect, our building heights, our widths, everything is numerical. Everything is a numeric parameter. There's no abstraction in this code. It's all numbers and math and physical form. So it's the type of thing I can present to you guys, say, well, what do you think of that? What do you think of that building maximum and minimum? That building width maximum and minimum? That window proportionality? And these are the discussions I want to have with all of you. And so this is we're starting tonight's night. And you either love me or get really sick of me over the next few months, but I'm gonna be living with you guys here. We're gonna do this code together. That's what I would propose. So that's all. I just want to say.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Good.
Mr. Allen. I know Ken and I went and had a short discussion, and we had numerous questions. So I think the idea, if it's possible, to have Alan on the agenda whenever he can make it and go over stuff, because I know just on this meeting I had questions like how's it going to fit and stuff, and we probably shouldn't get into
this is what I
this.
need.
It's late,
Constant back and forth, as we said before.
Right, so it's
Have to
worked out
collaborate.
ahead of time.
That's right, and I need many, many perspectives to make the code strong and true. And the great thing about this is, if we do this the right way, it's the people of Ayer that are going to literally write this code and compose it. So by the time we get to town meeting, everyone's going to go, of course we know what this is, we wrote it!
Yeah.
That's the success.
It's
Everyone knows, of
easy.
course we know what this is going to it, and you'll know, frankly, the temperature of the community. But they're going to write the code, it's the people's code.
So are you going to be back then at our next meeting with something to actually discuss?
Yes, I would actually like to come in with the first basics of some of the numerical parameters of height, building placement, with all those things to come to because I could sit in my office, frankly, and write this code over the next 3 weeks alone and do it, but that's not how it's done, and it shouldn't be done that way.
Can we ask, Madam Chairman, can we ask questions at this point?
And if you're-
Well, I don't think we've actually started with, this was more is, are we going to work on this? But yeah, I would hope that like next meeting, he comes with something to actually
Yes.
discuss. And also too is like, we discuss some at that meeting, and then I go home and I think of new questions. So it's really great if,
Just a quick technical question. When we do the code, where does it fall? Does it become a section in our zoning bylaw, or does it become a separate code?
Thank you for that question. And this has to do with what we call how and where is the code deployed.
Yeah,
With form-based codes, there were sort of four options. You either do a freestanding code, like it's its own legal, apart completely from your current zoning code, it's standing out there. I, as a consultant, never recommend that to my clients. It can be good or it could be dangerous. Another approach is what's called an optional parallel code. Believe it or not, I did this in Stratham, New Hampshire. You have your current existing code that code is subject to, but you have an optional parallel code. And a developer can say, I want to go with the conventional, no, I want to go with this new, and you did. That is also a tricky thing to deal with. The final one, though, is you integrate the new form-based code directly into your existing zoning document. This is what I do, and what that means is, right now, Park Street, for instance, is part of the DB, the Downtown Business Zone.
right.
You would literally remove that downtown business zone from your current document. Now that doesn't, and you're inserting in its place this new thing called the, downtown or Main Street and Park Street form-based code. So it becomes its own section in the existing code. But when you go through that code, then you look at all the rest of the code is going to be what you're used to. It's just page after page of paragraphs of text. Our code, by the way, our zoning code there's nothing visual in it. Really obsolete, frankly, but that's another thing. When you get to this new, if we do it, form-based code section on this, it'll look different because it's all going to be visual, illustrative, and diagrammic. Okay, so it'll sort of go, oh, what is this? This is different from everything else. And that's actually a good thing. People key on, they realize. And, some places then take the next step and say, well, let's do a form-based code for the whole town, city, and just do it. We're not ready for that.
Heather?
Yeah, so I just have a question. So it's like an overlay district?
It is not an overlay district.
It's its own, because I'm just saying you take out the
You're
existing.
removing it and putting it new.
Well, so you.
We
Could
form-based
you do
code.
an overlay?
We form-based code evangelists. We
It's
deeply
just a question.
dislike overlay. The reason form-based codes are created because we're sick of let's do another overlay zone over another overlay zone over another to keep trying to fix this and deliver the place we want. It
Yeah.
doesn't work.
I'm just
I
wondering.
know we just did a new mixed-use overlay zone to the. We find in 80% it does not deliver the form. It doesn't, and we have to deliver the form.
I'm just wondering, because you have the Main Street, and then it
Yes.
goes to Park Street, it's downtown business. So you would
Yes.
just take the Park Street section out and put the form-based code in, and leave Main Street as downtown business?
No, what I would recommend is because the downtown, or actually your current Main Street is going to sort of be the pattern book for Park Street. So really you should
So you're doing
remove the
your-
entire downtown
Okay,
business and
that's-
make that the new form-based code, which is really includes, it's Park Street. And you had this going back in our master plans, by the way, back to 1996, saying Park Street is to become part of it is to become, and obviously here we are and this proves it. For 25 years, has our current existing use space delivered Park Street? No, and it won't. So it's like, we know this doesn't work after 25 years, so isn't it not time to try something innovative and new that will deliver, make Park Street a walkable downtown street? So,
I just wanted to make-
and like West Main Street corridor is all zoned out there, general business. You'd remove that part, general business, and do both now. So
rezone that
West Main
area.
form-based code, so yeah. So you integrate it into the existing code. Yes.
You just rezone it and call it that.
That's right. Now, the other tricky part of that is I have to then, part of my burden is I have to then start with the very first word in our current zoning. I have to go through every word of every sentence in our current zoning and make sure that form-based code, every bit of it, there's no conflicts.
Yeah.
And everything is consistent, and that's why form-based code consultants get paid $100,000 to do a form-based code for a town or city. I do it here for love, because I just work here. But no, it is, it's it's intense. But the end product is.
Cool.
We still under new business.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Is it possible for Alan, while he's here, to give us an update on the parking garage? I just can't keep up with the selectmen's meetings, and you guys are working here every day, so.
Sure. Yeah, the parking garage, we, this is the proposed new commuter parking deck.
Right.
out in the current rail trail parking lot. Mark did issue, they put the request for bids out for the project a couple months ago. There were 2 respondents to that first issuance. Both bids came in higher than the funding that we currently have to do. It's about $4 million. One bid came at 7.9, the other came in at 6.5. So now we have met with Mart, and what they're doing is trying to, which you know this year, in this trying to work, how can we modify this so that maybe we can get down to a number closer to build it? And they're doing some, my understanding is they are going to reissue the bid proposals in mid-November. I think that's right, and just right a couple of weeks ago. So they're going to put it out again after they have done some thinking. All right, we think we have this now at a place where we can get it closer to. And so we will wait for the results of that second issuance and see how the private sector responds and see if we can get closer to the number of what we have for funding. And if all that goes well, we can break ground hopefully, and maybe late spring, summer. We may have a parking deck for the end of next summer, early fall.
Thank you.
It is, okay.
Well, I
Thanks.
want to thank everyone for being patient tonight, and Mark and Heather for all their hard work, and everyone. And I think we're finished finally. So could I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye. That's a few too many for me. I wasn't adjourned.
I wanted to see if that means during, as far as your comments in regards to getting that in, and hopefully all their applications I've drafted
This was
require
all
them to be sent
change it
electronically.
to.
So as soon as I get those, I try to send them out.